everyone. Welcome to our session for today. I know that you have seen the logo of Azure Innovators Hub. In reality, it's a common effort where I am the owner of both groups. I would like to enhance the global AI Athens community presence, and of course, most sessions, if not all sessions about AI, will be themed to the Global AI Athens Community Group, which I suppose attracts people that are more interested into AI solutions and end-to-end projects. For those who don't know me and haven't known our groups, I am Konstantinos. Nice to meet you, everyone, and welcome to our session today. Uh, Regarding our groups, I would like to clarify a few things. So we have the Azure Innovators Hub. It is our meetup group with regular sessions on Azure Cloud and every infrastructure platform as a service and integration technology around cloud and Azure mostly. I'm actively looking for speakers, so if you are interested, just throw me a message and we can set up your session. And I'm the owner of a secondary group or another group, Global AI Athens. It's a community. It has meetup presence. It is sponsored by Microsoft, and I'm very proud to say that we have already around 200 members. So thank you everyone for joining our community. It really means everything to me to see you supporting this initiative. Every session, every interaction, anything that is shared through these groups, it is free of charge, and my goal is to provide a safe space for everyone to express themselves, connect, learn, and advance in their careers and their knowledge journeys around cutting edge technologies and innovation. Today, we're going to explore a solution that I can proudly say that is shared on the awesome templates AZD GitHub repository. It is a global repository maintained by Microsoft, and it hosts and provides access to several templates created by AZD, the Azure Developer CLI tool. And we're going to see, on one hand, how we can create this type of template. It's very easy. It needs it has a learning curve, but it's very easy to, adjust to your preferred infrastructure tool and infrastructure as code tool. And then we're going to have a deeper dive into agent-to-agent. This is a protocol created by Google to enhance AI agenting communications by setting up a set of standards. And this protocol removes the need of an intermediate layer, such as an MCP server, for example, or whatever, a set of APIs, another middleware, whatever you want to name it, and allows an agent to talk to another agent and complete a set of tasks set by the user. And of course, natural language is the main instructions tool for this agentic interaction. We can take it a lot further. It's not only about natural language, of course. We may start by natural language, but this agent-to-agent service actually allows us to have an automation engine that is synchronous. Okay, it is a non-blocking technology where you are firing your needs to your agent. You may have a coordinator agent or an orchestrator agent, and other agents are getting the tasks set by the user, or the task, and with a non-blocking approach they are executing the task in the background as secondary agents. You can have 5, 6, 10, 20 agents working on this type of approach while you continue to use the web application, and you don't have to wait the agent to complete its task. For that reason, you're into an environment that's called non-blocking, and of course, it is asynchronous. That the set of rules set by Google on this protocol are specific. I won't say strict, but they are specific, and there is room to work on this. In reality, to have a true agenting interaction, you need to follow the exact specifications set by the protocol. And this is what exactly we're going to have. So I haven't deployed that yet. We're going to do that together. It's going to take some time, but in the meantime, we have the capability to look into the code while this thing is deployed. So let me quickly go to introduce you to the awesome AZD. What is awesome AZD? Awesome AZD is a template gallery for or library for solutions created by the AZD CLI tool, Azure Developer Command Line Interface, a powerful tool for developers to create solutions on Azure. Um, and it supports end-to-end deployment, build, and of course, serving it via your favorite service. It starts from the bottom up, if we want to say that, by providing you the option to work either with Bicep or Terraform, and we're talking about infrastructure as code, of course, because this tool not only allows you to pack your application into the needed container or the application code in order to be served in the best practices that you set or the requirements set by the service that you select. Could be web apps, could be container apps, could be whatever, and bring services together, because it's not only about one application. You can work with a lot of services. You can have Cosmos DB, SQL database, storage accounts, everything is orchestrated to your requirements set by you for your idea, and AZD helps you complete this in a nice, tidy way and serve it through this library. You will find a lot of solutions here. It is a tool that's working a lot of, it's going go back to the past for more than years. I'm not sure exactly how many years this is online, but to tell you the truth, I was always curious of how can I be involved here. And I was lucky enough to create a solution, um, follow the best practices and the instructions by the team set in order to be able to post this into this library. So you need to create your GitHub repo, follow the instructions on how to create the files needed to expose it, and then the team will try to test it in the environments that they want to be able to run. For example, they will test it in GitHub code spaces, and they will test it on their own terminal. These are the two places that I'm sure that they are going to test it. So any feedback will return to you through your pull request, because you are setting a pull request to the global GitHub repository. You're seeing the comments, you make the corrections, the additions, or whatever you need to do, and this is an ongoing process until the application is at the final state where it is accepted by the team and they can publish it. It doesn't take long as you are proactive and be sure to test it again and again and again. Okay? Because we know that we can test our application in our workstation, and it will work, but on another workstation, the scenario is different. Okay, many libraries could be missing, several tools could be missing. You need to be very specific and detailed regarding the instructions you're going to set. For example, this application, in order to run, needs an Azure subscription, of course. You need Docker or a variety or a set of prerequisites in order to make it work. So yeah, of course, most tools here require a subscription, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Let's see what we have here. It is very easy to get one of these templates. People are amazing in creating and uh, bringing to life their ideas. You can even post an idea here if you want to. If you don't have the tools, the time, or the flexibility to build something on your own, you can bring an idea here and people will help you make it real. So it's really something that it's worth exploring, especially if you are transitioning to the developer role or you are interested into getting to know the world of developing solutions for Azure. Our solution is this one, is the containerized A2A translation service with Azure AI Translator. So let's have a quick look. First of all, if I click here, you will see that we have a pop-up and provide you with a set of tags to get an idea of how this thing works, the link to the author and the repository in GitHub, details about what this thing is, what the solution does, what problem it solves, and how to use it. So let's start quickly by trying to use it. So by use it, you need to have installed AZD in your local environment and be logged in into your subscription. The instructions are already in the repo, and it's always a good idea to be able to do it, to go there and see the instructions before starting deployment. So if we go to the GitHub repository that I have merged into the global repository of the templates, is this one. So in here you will find a screenshot of what the solution does. I will explain in a bit and how you will make it work. So the easiest way to do it is as the awesome Azure Developer CLI page instructs us to do. AZD init, template, and the AZD library quickly understands the author from GitHub and the specific repo that is going to fetch. The architecture and what it does. So what it does, this is a translation service where we can upload TXT files, select the language that we want to be translated, and it will be translated back to our screen. It's a very simple idea. It's not about the solution, however. It's about presenting the A2A capability. We're going to see how we can send the text and how it returns back, especially if it is a long text. We don't need to wait to finish. We can add another one and another one in our user interface, and the responses will be coming up. To achieve this, we're going to use the JSON RPC 2.0. This is non-negotiable, set by Google specifically for this type of communication between agents. It is the primary standard for this protocol. We will have, of course, our web GUI, as you have seen. It is secure by design with managed identity authentication. We're using container apps to store our images, and you're going to see that it is very cloud native, let me say. Terraform is my favorite tool for infrastructure as code. Of course, you can transition it to Bicep if you want to. The async architecture, as we already explained, it is production ready, of course. It is cost optimized, compatible with AZD, and it's backward compatible if you want to switch to REST API instead of managed identity authentication. So what we have here, we have the translation agent. This is our main translation agent. It implements A2A protocol with JSON RPC 2.0 transport. There is a separate worker, and this is the lifter, it's doing the hard job. It's working on the background. It gets the instruction and um, the task that it needs to execute by the agent and starts doing the translation. Or if you want to make it a little bit more abstract, it executes. It executes what is needed to be executed, set by the agent through the A2A protocol. It creates artifacts. This is the correct language for this type of protocol. We are using a storage queue because this is a very useful service for our type of solution. We need a queue. So the queue facilitates the messaging between the services of the solution and of course the agents. So you're going to see what I mean by having a look while the agents interact. The AI translator is an external service that is called by the worker agent in order to create translation. Containers is our hosting environment. Managed identity is used for uh, authenticating services around. And of course, we are full compliant with the protocol set by Google. What we need is an Azure subscription, the Azure CLI we need to have it installed, the Azure Developer CLI to be installed, Docker Desktop installed and running, and Git installed. It is GitHub code spaces ready, of course. With zero setup, everything, all the dependencies are going to be installed in case you are missing them. But you need the prerequisites, okay? And you don't need to have Python installed. It will install it for you. The version is going to be 3.11. Docker needs to be running. I'm highlighting this. How you can use it with code spaces and how you can deploy quickly with developer CLI. If you want to clone the repo, you don't want just to run, you want to clone it and then explore it. Then you need to do this simple step. AZD auth login to authenticate AZD into your environment and AZD app to bring the solution up in your Azure subscription. I highlight here that the team kindly notified me that we need to inform the users about everything. We need to be proactive. Not everyone knows exactly what's happening here, so let them know. And no matter you are repeating yourself, let them know. And that's it. Okay, there are more instructions on how to start services individually, how you can have some environment values to look into, what are the services that we're creating. We need to have the web GUI, the A2A protocol API, and the agent discovery, alternative deployment methods, and that's it. Important. Here is the, let's say, X-ray of the protocol through our application. Observe the schema, okay? By calling our solution through curl, through an API post, this is the schema that we need to keep. So you can see here JSON RPC 2.0, the method that we have selected message sent, and parameters, the role of the user, and the parts that are should be packed into our call, our request. What is it? It is a text and the target language. For example, we need to translate this into Spanish. Okay. We need a mechanism for every message to assign it an ID. So UUID is the easiest way to do it. You can see here that you can also check the status, and the agent will respond what's going on with the task that I requested 1 minute ago. And this is the backward compatibility we explained earlier with envelope, but no one will go to the legacy. We're moving forward, and we're going to see more into this protocol maintained and created by Google. The configuration environment variables are here, and let's go and build it. Allow me to bring up the workstation. So here is my workstation. I have opened Visual Studio Code, VS Code. Let's do it in a new folder. I'm going to create a new empty folder here into my user profile. Let's create a new folder and name it my new A2A. No, it doesn't want to do it. I will force it. So it's my new A2A. And let's open this one. Select folder. Let's open our terminal. And let's execute the prerequisites. Let's have a quick look what are the prerequisites. We can see it from the GitHub repo. The reason I'm doing this is because my VS Code is not clean. It's not a new installation, nor I log out from each session. So I may have been logged in into another subscription. I want to build it into a specific subscription. So the prerequisites will also help me to define where I want this solution to be built. Okay, so let's do it. I need to AZD off login and AZ login just to set the subscription. Let's try with AZ account set. Account set and the subscription. I have the ability to select from my subscriptions. So I will select this one. I have an enterprise subscription, so I'm going to use this one. No, I need the ID. So here is the ID. Let's do this. The logged in user is already owner of the subscription. I don't want to execute the survey, and let's do AZD off login. Remember, in these cases, if you're trying to run templates that are not coming through your own code and are not tied to any way to your logged in user, to your context, to your authentication context, you may see some errors here. And it is 90% of the time, it's like this, an authentication error. Try to sign out from the subscriptions that you already signed in. Try to clear your sessions and start over. It's not a big deal. I don't want to upgrade right now, so I hope it won't be an issue. Let's start. How we can start this? By this terminal command, azd init. There are also other, let me show you. And if I remember correctly, where you can set the environment variables. Let's not confuse you and do it exactly as the instructions say so everyone can follow. Let me zoom in a bit so you are able to see better. We don't need this. And here we are. Okay. Let's see what's going on. AZD init. It's downloading the code from the repo. It's already here. Okay. Here is the code by the author. You need a name. You need a unique environment name, so it will use it to create services, assign prefix or suffix. It depends how the developer, the owner of the solution, the author, has mixed this environment name into the code. So let's try to be a unique environment name. I will say UNK A2A. I don't have similar or don't try to add something very common here. Remember, in most cases, it's used like a prefix or suffix. A unique environment name. Okay, it is initialized, so I'm going to run AZD GitHub, and that's it. I hope the upgrade of the AZD is not a problem. Okay, AZD app, that's good. I'm going to select the subscription. This is the one I want to use. I think it's I don't have a similar name. No, it's this one. Select the region. I want to select the Switzerland region. Yes, this one. So we spoke about infrastructure as code. Let's see what's going on here. You saw that the first command has already brought the template. And let's see here in our GitHub. Okay. It should have started the deployment directly, but I think it's about the upgrade that is bringing up our messages. Never mind. The same thing exactly is happening. So let's have a look in our infra. You saw that it brought the main code. So we have here a Terraform infrastructure as code deployment. Okay. In order to be compatible with the AZD developer experience, you need to have a specific structure into your infrastructure as code um, code. Okay, so we are following cloud adoption framework approach with a set of variables and services and resources that are already in the documentation when you start to engage yourself with the AZD experience. You are setting out your first set of services and resources, and then you move on to deploy your solution. This is a dynamic solution, so you're using a lot of environment variables. That's why it is important to set a unique environment name. Apart from that, you have also this very important file, the .azure folder. The first time that it was downloaded, it didn't contain this. This was created when I set the environment name, but it has also this config. So it created this config, and then it took all the requirements and already created my .env file when I selected also my subscription. Apart from that, there is also another important folder, this one, the dev container. This is let's say, the first instructions for our code. So it's going to use Python, and everything that it needs, it is defined into this dev container.json. And this specific JSON file is compatible with whatever solution the user finally wants to use for her deployment. It's also code spaces compatible. It is a globally accepted file, and it is important to construct it correctly. Okay, don't forget to include the required elements or extensions for your VS Code, the package for Python, and so on. You are exporting also outputs that are needed by the same code to be able to recycle information and refeed it into the code. And finally, the main code. We have two parts here, the web interface. So we have a specific Docker file for this web interface, and the A2A interfaces. We have the translation agent, Docker file, and the translation worker. So if we wanted to say what's going on right now, it's very simple. It's what a developer does, and maybe you are doing when we start creating and using applications. It is building the images for these three services, using the information contained into this repository that it is cloned into our PC. You don't need to touch anything. Everything is automated and dynamically inserted when needed for environment variables in our case. And one by one, each image is following the infrastructure as code process to build itself and expose it through container apps, in our case, container apps. If we want to have a look, for example, in this Python file, this is the web user interface. It's very simple. You can see here the storage account name, for example. Everything is working around environment variables when it comes to dynamic content. This is the context of the A2A protocol. You remember what we saw earlier about the structure of it? We need a JSON RPC 2.0 request, and it is sending it to the agent. This is happening from our web interface. The task ID, and we have also the legacy payload for backward compatibility. Error control and logging, and here are our endpoints. We have the get task status. I think I passed the previous one. Yes, these are the main API endpoint for the main application. It is serving the index file, as you can see, a health endpoint that helps us ping it, hit it through a curl command and understand whether it's healthy. The upload and translate endpoint that we saw, and the get status endpoint. These are API endpoints created through our first container image, and that's it. Of course, it is serving the content that exists into these static templates. A very nice interface, tell you the truth. I really like it. Requirements, of course, there are specific packages that Python needs in our case for this application, and these are also set by version. And our Docker file. Docker file, what it does, it creates a Docker image of our code, and it is exposing it in port 5000. Container apps will create an ingress controller to this port from 443. By default, we have HTTPS on container apps. Optional, but by default. That's it for the web GUI. Let's see our agents. So we have the client, where is it? The translation agent and the worker agent. The translation agent is the brain, okay? This is the brain of our agent. It's using, again, environment variables. It needs to create storage queues for the deployment is ready. As you saw, it didn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes. Of course, this is a simple application, but in most cases, that's it. You only need 1-2 commands to be able to run it, to build it. This is our translation agent, right? One Python file, it's more than enough. You see how we're creating our context for this translation agent. It's the brain of our application. And you can see here, this is the create A2A message, okay? It's creating A2A protocol compliant message object. That's why we expressed artifacts in our case. This is how A2A sets its standards for agents to understand each other. Remember what MCP does? It provides a common context for our agents, in order each agent to find the next one, and of course our applications to find where to search specific tools and where to go. For example, when they want to translate something, they will go to engine A. MCP is the service that helps our code find where to send the payload at the end of the day. In this case, it's happening between the agents. So it's a little bit more condensed, right? And with very specific context. The RPC endpoint for the main route of this translation agent, and it's now creating the task. The task contains the task ID, the document content, the target language set by the user interface, the web GUI, and the message ID. A dispatcher add method here for the task get method. In our case, when we're working with A2A, the only thing that matters is when the first agent, the brain, sends the message to the worker agent, which is the hands, it will only need to get back, okay, I got it. That's it. It doesn't care if I cannot communicate with the translation service or I cannot do that or this. It is an okay, I got it, thank you, goodbye. That's it. And that's why we're achieving this asynchronous non-blocking behavior. We need a lot of text to see uh, the communication between the agents. And this is the agent card, one of the most important parts of the code. Have a good look here. This is set by Google, of course. I didn't make it up from my mind, and this is how it should work. An agent card, okay, that provides a lexicon, okay, the context of the agents to understand each other, whether specific capabilities are um, supported, the default input, okay, our now specific context for our requirements and our application, the methods that we are creating this, send, get, cancel, but the format is this. And you can see here that this is very simple, 200 or 500. I got it, I understood you, I have the card, I don't have the card. I created the card, I didn't create the card. The legacy one, okay, let's move on. And the A2A protocol information and status, this is a page. And finally, the exposure. Again, it is served through 5000, but through container apps, you can see the Docker file that is exposing 5000, but in our container apps, which actually is ready. So let's go and have a look. What happened? Let's see also the worker before we leave this. I'm sorry. We need the worker. Here's our worker. Okay. The translation results. This is more lines of code for the worker agent. And let's go to see what we have achieved. I'm sorry. I will go to this tab. Let me close this one. So let's have a look how, I'm sorry, I need to show you this one. So when the IZD completed its job, you can see here what happened at the end, okay? It exposes where you can find what. Here is your translation agent. Here is the translation worker. And here is your web GUI. Okay, so if I click here, I'm taken to the web user interface. Okay, where is that URL getting it from? But of course from container apps. So let me help you understand what just happened. I'm switching to the subscription. Now remember our environment variable. Following also naming convention best practices, RG minus the environment name. Very nice. Observe here every little detail. I will try to be as much uh, observational as possible. Our resource group here, okay? Let's have a visualizer. I really like a visualizer. So we have the translation agent, the web interface, we just saw, and translation worker. We have created also our container registry. So the images were pushed from our workstation to the container registry. Log analytics, and it is, how can I say, prerequisites for a container apps environment to exist. You cannot create an environment of container apps unless you have also log analytics. So either you bind an existing log analytics workspace with your new environment, or you create a new log analytics workspace. Even the CLI command to create a container apps environment, if you don't define a log analytics workspace, it will create by its own one. Okay, so log analytics, the storage account, we need to be the message broker, let's say here in our case, very simple, storage queues, nothing too fancy. Manage the identity for our authentication, and of course, Azure AI Translator. Um, this is our translation service. Let's have a look now into our actual services. The container apps environment. Okay, it is very simple, nothing special here, not even domains or whatever. We haven't the need to create integrated virtual network, so it's just a container apps environment. The storage account includes storage queues. This is our services. We have two queues, the translation jobs and translation results. Okay, the jobs is used for the job to pass on the payloads, and the results for agents to be able to communicate with each other. Yes, I got your message. I failed 2 minutes ago, or I didn't complete the task. But this is happening on the worker side, not the agent side. The agent side continues to get input from the user. The queues, of course, now are empty, but I will try to, let me open this in a new tab. We can do it by VS Code, if I remember correctly, where we can see the messages by setting up a logging or a monitoring command, so we can see what's going on in the queue service. But that's fine. There's nothing else here. Containers, I think yes, we're also saving the translation results. At first, I was thinking for Cosmos, but there's no need, especially for this simple demonstration. You don't need Cosmos, right? You can do it in a very simple but useful way. Okay, don't overkill yourself. Translation results is the blog that we're using, so we can also have and see our results while we provide new translations. So let me switch to the queues and try to have remove this. Try to see what's going on. This is the first queue, and I will open another tab for the second queue. Just to have a look how fast this, you cannot, in most cases, you cannot, you're not able to see the messages, they're gone. Okay, here are our queues. Let me return here. Finally, the managed identity. Important to understand what kind of permissions we need. So we have Azure role assignments into this managed identity. We need cognitive services users. Why? Because we need the managed identity to communicate with an AI translator service and request a translation. So the user is the least privileged existing role, that a role that exists, to create from scratch for us. ACR pool, a very standard permission role for the container apps to be able to pull the images from the container registry. Storage queue data contributor and storage blob data contributor, able to read and write into the storage account services like data and like queues and blob. The moment of truth, of course, we need to select a file. We don't need to set the source language, and that's the beauty of this service. We need just to set the destination language, meaning that we are able to select whatever source language we need. The translator will understand the language, if I remember correctly. But yes, we will see. Let me create a new text file and get some content from the web so we can bring it here. I will create a new text service and let's find some text from the web. Something nice. I think MSN is not the best place to find text. Yeah, let's go from MS-Learn to get some text. It's always interesting. Yes, this is also our community group in tech community. It is named Modern Development with Software Integration and AI, and I would love to have you as members there. So let's get some good enough text. This is perfect. Copy and paste, and let's save it as a try one in the works folder. Perfect. Let's go back to our interface and select. Okay, this is English, but yeah, we can try later with another language as source. Let's try with English. Let's try to be safe for the first test. In the works folder, okay. Trial one, open. Let's translate it to Greek. Okay. Now we need to be faster. I will ask for the translation. This is the first time that this thing is running. Let me do it. I will click here and then I want to go to the jobs and then to the results. So let me do this. Translate file. It is submitting now. Here is the job. Here is the job that just went to the agent. And here are already the results. Okay, let's do this again. Now I'm going to take this text from Greek and you're going to see what I mean by non-blocking. Copy. We're not accounting the first time it needs the web UI, right? And you will understand what I mean. Save as. Okay, new thread 34 TRE in the works. It's good. Great. So now I'm going to select it. You can see here that in the storage block now we have these results existing. It will not be removed. They are here. Only if I clear the previous history, it will remove it. Now it exists in the blob storage. Okay. What happened here is the job. If I refresh, we're losing it, and here are the results. Okay. It's left. Okay, the queue is just this. It's a broker. The message comes from one agent to another. We're going to try to have a better look, but let me also see the user experience. That's important. So it's a Greek source text and let's translate it to Spanish. Translate. It's gone. I'm choosing now another file. I don't care what's going on in the background, and this is the beauty of it. Okay, this is the non-blocking. I can do how, no matter what's going on, I can keep giving here translations. Nothing stops me. Again and again and again and again. Okay, you can see here that the agents are doing what they need to do, but our interface is just, now that's loaded, of course, it's much easier. It will have some cache content in the browser. It doesn't wait for the translation to come back. We are sending it, goodbye, move on to the next one. Goodbye, move on to the next one. And of course, the messages is clean. And if I refresh here, yes, this one, the translation results are kept here. If I'm not wrong, yes, the results are kept. And of course, in our blob storage, we will have the out. So I think it's here. Yes, you can see the ID. We have both versions, and the legacy one is here. I don't know why I did it, but I did it, if I remember correctly, to be able to send classic API requests and get back the translation. But here are the messages, and our interface is able to understand the text. Where is it? Yes, the text, and we are able to see it. Here is the messages also coming from our agents, right? Name, the text. Remember the schema that we saw earlier in our code? And that's it. Now, if you go and have a look into A2A protocol, you may find additional details that I have not already mentioned. And now you can see that this is something that it is evolving. Okay, imagine the possibilities if we integrate this with MCP and A2A. When it comes to a specific requirement, we will select the MCP route. But when it comes to something that can be done faster, easier, and more efficient with A2A, we don't need MCP. You can implement this A2A protocol, and your agents will have this non-blocking behavior. Your orchestrator and your workers, or you can have more orchestrators and more workers. No need for middleware. Remember, it is A to A, okay? Not A, another A, and another A. It is A to A, one to one. And that's the beauty of it. I was not convinced of the first time that this thing will work. But when I saw the actual results and how the behavior of this thing is and how it is responding, I was amazed. Let's try with a bigger one. This is something I haven't done to go with a lot of text, but it's better not to include code here. So let's find something that's more of a blog. Let's go to the blogs section of our below the community, and let's see something about something that yes, we have some new features in Teams. Yes, the automatic I think location. There was a big discussion there. Let's see how big this text is. Let's keep the other one. Yeah, it's long enough. I like it. Let's see. Either we are going to get a red card for abusing the API, or it will work. Let's go. Keep the history. Select the TXT. I want to be fast here, so there will be to be fast. That's this one. Open. Um, the translation jobs. Yes. Okay, to Spanish. Let's go to French. Translate. Choose file. I'm selecting another one now. You see here the background is trying to translate. Select another one. I think I selected the same. Anyway, Italian. Translate. And go back to jobs. Refresh. Refresh. They are gone. They are gone already. They are gone already. And here are our texts. Two translations, one in Italian and one in French. It happened too fast. Too fast. And that's the purpose of it. So, a little bit of a recap here. Number one, ACD, Azure Developer CLI, template gallery or template library. The place to go for, let me go there. The awesome Azure Developer CLI website, where you can find a lot of templates, amazing templates with one click. You can just, with one command or two, you can just deploy your solution. This is a very, very helpful way to start your developer journey. Or you don't even need to start the developer journey here, just to get some solutions and have a look. That's it. Everything is following best practices regarding infrastructure as code. And in reality, if you ask me, I could have broken down the Terraform structure into services. For example, um, if I wanted, I would have Key Vault as well, and each service into its separate module folder and so on. But this is a small solution, so a simple main Terraform file is enough. Number two, uh, you can also post your template or describe your idea and get help to make this idea a reality. Just have a look before that idea is published by you. Maybe someone has already done it. Number three, when you get such a template from awesome developer CLI, awesome Azure Developer CLI, when you get it, you are able to clone it into your own workstation and work with it. You can make it better, you can make changes, you can do whatever you want. In our case, this is a demonstration of the protocol of A2A and how we can utilize it in Azure. What we saw is that we are able to create this relationship, implement the protocol of A2A, use our agents in Azure Container Apps. And by agents here, we don't necessarily mean LLMs. Okay, remember that. We are using agents, and the agent could be anything. In our case, we have the orchestrator engine that is getting the translation, and the worker agent that is responsible to communicate with the backend services and bring the translation back to the web user interface. The future of software development, modern application development, and of course AI integration is here. Just remember, this specific type of implementation, just like MCP, has requirements in order to be, on one hand, compliant with what Google defines as a pure A2A, and of course, achieve the results that A2A claims to provide to you. And in our case, we saw that. We saw that non-blocking behavior, we can push so many translations in our web user interface. The user interface is unhinged. It doesn't care. It just push them to the orchestrator, and the orchestrator just communicates with the worker, and from that point on, we are free to continue working an asynchronous, non-blocking behavior. I'm sorry to repeat myself, but that's exactly what A2A is meant to do. So, I want to thank you for being here today. Of course, this stream will be also uh, presented in YouTube and in our Global AI page. You can find more details in globalai.gr, globalai.gr, in Greek and English. And of course, we are waiting you in our meetup groups, Global AI Athens and Azure Innovators Hub. Thank you everyone for being here with me tonight, and have a great afternoon, have a great morning. Bye bye. Thank you so much, everyone.